And as we head into 2026, many Americans may be considering a new ride to start the new year. But before you hand over your credit card, we're turning to automotive expert and founder of Car Coach Reports, Lauren Fix, for her advice. Lauren, welcome. And to start us off, what key trends are you seeing emerge in the auto market as we enter this new year?
The biggest trend for 2025 right now, or 26, is hybrids. People are thinking the electric vehicle doesn't work for me. Either there's no charging infrastructure, or they don't want to put a charging station in their home, or they don't want to pay the extra fee to own an electric car, and there's no more incentive to purchase one. So hybrids are becoming the best option. And some brands, such as Toyota, have made their full lineup available as hybrid. And that has really elevated their sales. Hyundai, as well as Kia, they're offering whatever consumers want. In the case of General Motors, which you were just talking about in the segment before this, what the problem is when you're offering only an all-electric Cadillac other than the Escalade, you're limiting consumer choices. And when that happens, consumers look elsewhere. And you don't want to lose the sales, especially in a Cadillac line, because it's so expensive. So that's why you're starting to see the biggest trend right now is people shifting to the best of everything, a gasoline power with a hybrid. However, there is one caveat. I highly suggest that you lease those vehicles because once they're outside of the warranty, you're responsible for both propulsions. In other words, the electric part and the gas part. And they get expensive when it's two of them instead of one. So a lease is always a really wise choice.
Now, why is hybrid cars so popular coming into the new year? Is the price of gas going up or the price of gas going down? Or are people just choosing hybrids instead of fully gassed cars?
Well, it's actually a combination of all of that. So you're correct. So gas prices are dropping. We're seeing that across the country, not just by sites like Gas Buddy, but we're seeing such low prices in many cases, as low as under $2 in Oklahoma. We saw that over the weekend. Right now, we're looking around, hovering around $2 a gallon. Now, my predictions based on what happened in Venezuela over the past weekend, we're going to see gas prices drop even more because we're going to be processing that heavy crude oil and then selling it. And a lot of that will help lower the prices for us as well as for other countries. So this is all positive, although there's some negatives in that, but that's the politics side that I won't cover. As far as the gasoline price size, lowering the price of gasoline will cause people to look at gasoline models. And the hybrid gives you the best of everything. You can get 50 miles to the gallon with a hybrid, not a plug-in hybrid, just a regular hybrid. And one of the biggest vehicles, the most popular one, is the Toyota Prius. And then, of course, Kia has vehicles, and Ford is going to start bringing in hybrids. General Motors is going to. You're not going to see that until 2027 models. So they're a little behind in that range. But we're seeing at companies like Stellantis where they suffered with cars like the Hornet, where there's so many 2024 models sitting on their lots. There's a lot of good deals on 2024 models as 2026 models are coming into the market. So if you're thinking about a vehicle, look at what's on the lot. Ask them, what do you have sitting here the longest? It may not be the right vehicle for you. It might be too expensive. It may not be the right color. But what you're getting is your best deal. And that's really important. We have interest rates lowering also, so that's going to give you some more opportunities. And there are 23 discontinued models right now that are going to be available because they want them off the lot. Now, remember, if they're electric cars, check with your insurance agent. It's going to be more expensive. Hybrids are also more expensive than gasoline-powered vehicles. So again, it's not just the price of the car and what fuel is. It's got to also be the insurance and the overall expense.
Now, with your prediction of the hybrid increasing, and with new tariffs on the way and still implemented under the Trump administration, how can we see, is there a shift towards vehicles being built and bought domestically, or are these hybrids from foreign countries like Japan?
Well, what you're going to see, first off, you're not going to see Chinese vehicles coming in here. There's 100% tariff, plus there's 100% tariff in Canada. So those are completely out of the picture here for US and Canada. What you are going to see because of the tariffs, and they've already been announced that Hyundai, Stellantis, Ford, General Motors are all going to bring their products from other countries and start producing them here. That, remember, the tariff amount, whatever it might be, is not on the total vehicle because there's components that come from other countries. So it could be just a few pennies to a few dollars. Now, some brands have increased the cost of what they call D&D, destination delivery. So you might see the price of the car saying, oh, it's $25,000. But then you look at the destination delivery and it suddenly went from $1,500 to $2,500. That's where they're making up the difference, saying it's more expensive. So you really have to keep in mind look at the bottom line, negotiate from that. And some other good deals that people overlook on a regular basis is if you're buying that same brand, whatever it might be, if it's a Honda, if it's a Mazda, whatever, you're going back to that brand, ask for a loyalty discount. It can be as little as $1,000, it can be way over $2,500. If you don't ask for it, the dealer pockets that money. It's your money. And that same dollar amount is equivalent if you're switching brands. You have an Audi, you're going to look at a BMW. You have a Mercedes, you're going to buy an Audi. Whatever that might be, that's called a conquest discount. Always ask for that because that money is yours. Again, if you don't ask for it or a dealer tells you, I don't know what you're talking about, then you want to talk to a sales manager because that money goes into the dealer's pockets. And those are additional discounts that people don't look at. You can also negotiate some of what they call doc fees or document fees. And those have also been elevated so that the dealers can make more profit. So many times it's moving paper literally from one side of the desk to the other. And to me, that shouldn't be $500. And so you have to ask, and sometimes it's negotiable and sometimes it's not. It depends on the dealer. Remember, if you want an EV, there's some great deals out there. Right now, the biggest inventory that's available, I'll give you a few things to look at. The Dodge Hornet has 82% of their inventory left over. BMW i4 has 89% of their 2025 inventory left over. Tons of SUVs from the Jeep Cherokee, the Genesis GV60, Porsche Macan. So there's a big mix of product. And all that information is from IC Cars. They're the resource on that. But make sure to do your homework and test drive as many cars as you can before you decide.
Now, but you talked about the mass inventory we have from these companies. What could there be people who think, well, why do these large inventories exist? Could there be some kind of issue that causes such a large inventory space and inventory stock? And maybe
Well, that's a good question. High interest rates cause a lot of people to say, you know what, I'm going to keep my vehicle. Car payments on average have gone around $700 to $800. I've heard people with $1,200 a month car payments. That's absurd. And in a case like that, people think, you know, I can't afford to put food on the table. Everything's costing more. So in the last year, especially previous to President Trump coming into office, a lot of cars got left on the lot. People were unsure what was going to happen with the economy. But now that we're seeing some positive changes with lower interest rates, we got a lot of tariff money coming in. And now with the big, beautiful bill, as President Trump calls it, going into effect, you're going to have no tax on tips, no tax on interest payments for cars. If you're purchasing one, cars that are made here in the USA are going to get additional discounts. So when you start looking at that, now's the time to buy cars that are built here in North America that are also vehicles that you can negotiate with. You're looking at a new 2026 coming in, they're going to be less likely to negotiate. So what the inventory is left is because they made too many with the thoughts that people would buy them no matter what. And car brands made a huge mistake on making all these EVs and not pushing back against the federal government, who said, the previous administration said it's going to be all EVs. Well, that's gone. And it's never coming back because of the Congressional Review Act. That's Lee Zeldin, that's President Trump, that's Sean Duffy, that's the whole team saying, we're done with mandating what you want to drive. You buy what works for you and your family.
Now, what about the secondhand market? Is buying still a cost-effective option for consumers?
Sure, there are two types of used cars. There's a certified pre-owned. That means that that vehicle goes back to the dealer. You always want to buy the brand from the brand. You're going to buy a Ford, that's a certified pre-owned, you buy it at a Ford dealer. You don't buy it at a GM dealer. The reason is they're going to fix all the recalls, the technical service bulletins, and it needs to be done, and they'll extend the warranty if it's possible. In the case of buying a used car from a used car lot, or whether you go to like Mecum auctions or any of those places, you basically, you're buying what you buy, whether it's Facebook Market or some guy in a corner or your neighbor. So you obviously want to get something that's certified pre-owned. Used cars are very strong. And speaking of the Mecum auctions, right now, super strong sales numbers, lots of cars crossing the block. So people are looking at other options, like maybe I've always wanted to get something that I can drive on the weekends or have a little fun with, or an investment piece. They're looking at those type of opportunities. But on used cars, like I just need something to get me back and forth to school or to work, or a first car for a child. They're starting to look at dealers that have warranties on them, because you don't want to get stuck with those repairs that could be expensive.
Now, what about new cars? Are these new EVs, or these EVs that are in the stock past previous years, are these hybrids, my bad, are they still within reach for the average American buyer?
Well, you actually have an excellent point, and I'll tell you why. Because people see the EVs on the lots and they're thinking, wow, look at all these electric cars sitting here, I should be able to make a deal. You can make a deal. The secret to this is you want to lease it. You don't want to buy it. The dealer will be thrilled to make you a deal if you purchase it and they never get it back again because they will not take it in on trade. So a lot of electric cars that are out there that have been sold previously, people bought them, they had a couple of years with them, or maybe they didn't like it, or maybe they loved it, and they try to trade it back to that brand or another brand. They don't want them because electric cars, when they come in used, they're really, really hard to sell, whether they be at auction or whether they be at a dealer, or you're trying to sell it yourself through eBay Motors, for example. So what I tell people is if you're going to buy an electric car, lease it. At the end of 3 years, you drop it off, you're done. And then you get the best of both worlds. You can use the electric if you have electric infrastructure, maybe at work, maybe at home, maybe there's a charging station nearby. Then you get the best of everything. Otherwise, you don't want to do that because you'll find yourself with people who have tons of used Teslas and other vehicles and they can't sell them. And there's tons of proof on that. There's tons of data on it that shows that electric vehicles have horrible resale. So leasing an electric car is your best and smartest choice.
Lauren Fix, thank you so much for your insights. Have a great year.
Thank you, you too. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.